We're going to keep the inspiration flowing, man, with another edition of Meet the Team. We got my man, Sir Jazz, in the mix. If you ever come see me live, then you already know what's up. Sir Jazz is, well, he's going to tell you who he is, but he's one of my best friends, one of the greatest people I've come to meet in life, and very honored to have him in my life. And he has elevated my life in so many ways, but we're going to tap in with him right now.
What up, beautiful people? It's your boy, Sir Jazz. What up, Mack? My guy, Sam. How y'all doing, man? Looking good. Thanks for letting me ask some questions to the people out there. If y'all don't know, my name is Sir Jazz. I am fortunate enough to be the tour DJ for #Team HMack. I also am a producer. Made a couple jams with my boy, 2024 and awards, just to name a couple. Not only that, but I get the chance nowadays to do a lot of the audio editing for a lot of the content you see, whether it's social media or on YouTube. I get to mess around with some audio and really try some things on the back end. Being a part of Team HMack, I've always wanted to know, as an artist, we all work really hard to get better at our craft, right? You talk on this podcast quite a bit about like repetition and the drills and the practice, but when did you make that decision to switch to become more business forward and business driven? And on top of that, once you make that switch, because this whole practice is the whole brand of HMack, you and Lisa, this is kind of like your baby. So when did you also know to trust the team and have that trust fall with everyone to also take care of your baby just as hard and just as good as you do as the parent of the brand? Keep doing what y'all doing, man. Keep tuning in to the Flow Station, boy, Sir Jazz. Yeah.
Hey. Shout out Sir Jazz, the legend. Thank you for the question. Great question, man. Yeah, been working at the craft for years, like you said. When did I decide to really prioritize the business and the brand and grow this thing into what it is now? It's really interesting. It makes me think about this class that I took when I was at USC called Careers in Music. And all due respect, by the way, to the professor, who I think was very well-intentioned and honestly did a good job presenting the information. But I always think back on this class, it's kind of funny because it was all about how to get your business shit together. We're these musicians, aspiring jazz musicians. It's a tough career, very competitive. Most jazz musicians are not making a lot of money these days, unfortunately. Only the top 0.001% are really doing it big. And here we are, some young 20-years getting ready to graduate. Hopefully we're going to have careers in music, And so the course was like a lot of stuff about like, how to make your business cards and how to, you got to have some headshots. We were able to sign up and get some headshots for a reduced price. And how to, get a website going, how to write your bio. These were the assignments, like write your bio. And, it's all, again, it's fine information. It's true in some ways, maybe not the business card anymore. That's kind of hilarious, but some people still have business cards. I don't know. But it was just so strange because I was like, bio, like I haven't done anything, like what is the content of my bio? I got accepted into the USC Thornton School of Music. I mean, yeah, that's cool. Like that is an accomplishment, that's great. But like nobody cares like in the real world. Like most of the musicians that we look up to and admire didn't go to music school, and if they did, they don't talk about it. It's not like important. It's not in their bio anymore. It's not necessary to shift culture. Right. So it's just kind of like, I haven't done anything, and what is the content of my website? Like, it's easy to make a website in a way. No, and it's not easy to make like a really awesome, great one. So shout out to all the like innovative like web designers and stuff like that. There's an art to that. But I just mean like to have a basic website where it's like, here's all my gigs, here's where I'm going to be on these dates, and like, here's some videos of me playing. Like, that's not the hard part. The hard part is like having the gigs and like having the videos and like having the stuff to fill the box with, right? And so I just remember feeling like this is so strange. I don't know what to do with this. And it was backwards. It was backwards. So, and I think sometimes people do get that backwards, you know? And I think sometimes it can be a way of procrastinating, because the scary thing is going out into the world and doing the thing, you know, making the art, putting it out. Like we were talking about before, you know, I still struggle with that, right? Sharing your art with the world, that's the scary thing. You know, and putting the work in to live a remarkable life is scary. It's not easy, you know? If you want to live an exceptional life, like think about that word, exceptional. It means you are the exception. You know, you're the exception to the rule. You're the exception to the norm. You're not normal. So when you're like telling people what you're going to do with your life, they're looking at you like, that's crazy. You're really going to do all that? You're like, yeah, I'm going to try, right? Because I want to live an exceptional life. And so until you have done that, you don't want to get distracted thinking about how you're going to build your brand or how you're going to optimize your business. And I feel like a lot of times, and I've done this too, you know, so I'm not above it. So this is no kind of judgment or anything like that. An easy way to procrastinate is to learn about how to make a nice website, you know, unless, of course, your craft is being an awesome web designer, in which case that is the real thing. But for everybody else, like you can waste a lot of time not going out and living an exceptional life worth building a business around by just learning how to make a dope website or learning about the dimensions of the banner on your YouTube channel and designing that. It's like, dude, what are we talking about? You know, like this stuff is not hard. And so to answer, you know, your question, Jazz, about like, when did I start investing in the business? First, I had to go do something, you know? And again, shout out to Jacob Mann, Bounce House, you know, the first video, December 2016. Literally after that video came out and it got 100,000 views overnight and it was voted to #1 on Reddit videos and all this crazy stuff that I didn't even have a clue about. I was learning about it so quick as I could. I hit him up. I was like, let's get lunch. And we got together and I was like, bro, what should I do? Like this thing happened. What do you think I should do? He's like, bro, I think you should just make a YouTube channel, start making your own videos. And I was like, got it. And so then I went home and I made a little YouTube channel and I looked up the dimensions of the banner and I used Canva, or I don't even know if Canva existed, but I used something that was free and I designed a little thing and I put it up there and I found a picture of myself playing on some beat pads, and it wasn't a great picture, but it was a fine picture. And I made that the profile picture, right? It was adequate. And I didn't have a logo, because why would I have a logo? You know, I wasn't there yet, right? But I took the first little like preliminary steps of doing that, and doing that also on Facebook and probably also on Instagram. And it's like, okay, now I have a presence online. You know, there's still empty boxes because I haven't made any of my own videos yet, but I'm ready now. I have these like basic pieces in place. And that was really all that was warranted at that time. You know, I had this one low-key viral pop on the internet, and that was a great thing, a great catalyst for me to get going. And so then I did just enough, the next step, to be able to maybe be able to capitalize on some of that momentum. And I started making my own videos. And it was like my first video that I made, randomlist.com, is me just in my bedroom playing on the drum pads and then freestyling off this thing called randomlist.com. And I just remember I like posted it like a week later, and I went and I commented on Bounce House, yo, it's me. If you guys like this video, check out my first video over here with a link, you know? Like it was maybe semi-effective, but that random list only got like, you know, maybe 3,000 views, if that. It didn't go crazy or anything, but it was a start, right? And so then again, it was like, well, how do I go viral now on my own terms, you know? Shout out to Jacob Mann for being the catalyst, but how do I do this now myself? And so it was like, you got to go out and live an exceptional life, you know, right? Like you got to go do something, man. Go shake shit up. There's nothing more to do at this point. Like don't spend hours figuring out how to design a website or how to build a team. You haven't done the thing yet. You know, you had a splash, but now you got to go out and make another couple splashes, you know? And so then it was like, all right, let's go to the liquor store and do a freestyle. Oh, that one got 10,000 views. Oh, wow, it's happening. Probably not even 10,000 views. I don't know what it was. Okay, let's go do this video of me driving through Portland. That one tanked, didn't get any views really. Oh, well, okay, let's go do this one at the park. Okay. And then come February, we had Venice Beach Part 1, and it was like, shit went crazy. And so then it was like, okay, and now guess what? It's on my channel, you know? So some of this traffic, granted, a lot of the ones that went really viral were like reposts through like viral, you know, those sites that like culminate viral videos from across the internet. But anyway, still, the original was on my channel, and I had a headquarters online, you know, that I had created with my funny little banners and my funny little profile pic. And then that's when it was like, okay, well, now my inbox is inundated with all these like opportunities, and I'm terrible at these kinds of like organizational things of like going through all of this and, you know, teasing out what's real and what's not, because most of this is probably bullshit, but some of it might be real. And I don't know, this is so overwhelming. And so then, you know, luckily, the woman who is now my wife, who at this time was just, you know, my early girlfriend, we've been together for a few months maybe, is really great at these kinds of things and was like, hey, you know what, I think I might be able to help you with this flooded inbox situation. And so she started helping me with emails and DMs. And so that's the first kind of like slight expansion of my team, you know, of me like taking help from somebody else to be able to build this thing out. And it was just the appropriate amount of doing that to match the level of what I had done in the world, right? And it continued from there, you know, to get to the point where we are now, where, you know, it's a 10-person team and you know, a combination of full-time and part-time employees. And you know, we go on tours and we do all these different things. That didn't happen overnight. And there's a lot of content on the internet about like how to build a team, how to have an awesome website, how to launch your merch line, how to go on tour. And like, it's great. You know, it's cool. It's all information. A lot of it is valid. Not all of it is valid, but a lot of it is. And you can find the good stuff and you can learn some stuff and it's great. But my thing would just be, you know, don't get it backwards. Because those things, you'll figure out how to do those things when the time is right. They can be challenging, but they're not the hardest part, because the hardest part is living an exceptional life that is worth building a thing around. That's really hard. You know, that's like the passion, the thing you devote your whole life to. You know, that's the thing that started when I was 10. And really before that, it started when I first heard music, you know, that's that. And don't feel bad, because if you're 50 right now, it's not too late, right? I happened to start when I was a kid, but it's never too late. There is time, you know, but that's the hard part. And so that's my thing is, to answer your question, Jazz, I started just incrementally, building out the business and focusing on that, at what felt like an appropriate level based on what I had done in the world and what was coming in to me organically. If that makes sense. And that's the way that I didn't always execute on that perfectly. And I still often, the reason I'm so passionate and saying this, like, I don't mean to sound like I'm preaching from a soapbox and, you know, like, listen up, kids, do it this way. Because I procrastinate and distract myself all the time. I have to snap myself out of it and say, bro, what are you doing researching like light boards for venues and how to program a DMX light show for your tour? Like, what are you doing? Like, you like that'll be. You can hire a LD, like you can hire a lighting director when the time comes. Until then, like, it's cool, you know. So I do it too, and I always try to remind myself, you know, don't get it backwards. Live the exceptional life. Go out, do the thing, do the truly hard thing, which is you know, your passion, and just get so undeniably good at it that you are overwhelmed by the opportunities that are coming into you, and you have no option but to figure out how to build a team and how to run a business. Because I didn't come into this thing as an entrepreneur. I didn't come into this thing as a small business owner. Like, that wasn't like, that's what I want to be. You know, I wasn't like watching Shark Tank, like, yeah, man, I can't wait to go on there. I'm a musician. You know, that's what my passion is. And so that's the core. And all the business stuff I've learned along the way. And some things I've been naturally decent at, and other things I've struggled with a lot. And, you know, luckily I've been able to bring great people into my world to help me with the things I'm not as good at. But that's that piece. And then in terms of how I, you know, trust the people to you know, delegate the different pieces that I delegate. I mean, I'm just so lucky, man. I have great people. You included, Sir Jazz, you included Sam, and everybody else on the team. You know, I've been able to just fortunately find really great people that I trust. And, you know, everybody shows up ready to learn, ready to improve, ready to iterate. Everybody shows up with energy and passion to try to give their all and give their best. And you can't ask for anything more than that. And if you have that, you know, there's no limit to how far you can take it. And I think one thing that I always had to keep in mind is, you know, there's this concept where it can be hard to delegate, because like you said, it's your baby, you know, like, this is my baby. It's like, I used to edit every video and make every thumbnail and, you know, do every piece of it myself because I had to. And sometimes it can be hard to let go of those things. because you're like, man, I don't know if anybody else is going to give it the same attention that I would give it. And the truth is they're probably not going to give it the same level of attention that you would. They might give it the same level of attention. I think, again, I have such a great team, and I do think that they give it their all. But they don't necessarily know everything that you know in your head about how you want to present yourself, right? Like, it's like, it's your art, so you have opinions about every little part of it. And so it can be hard to say, like, well, I'm going to trust somebody else to do it. But I have to really remind myself about this thing where it's like, if it's 80% as good as you would have done it, and good is subjective, but I just mean, like, if it's 80% as aligned with what I would have done, then it's time to delegate. Like, that is when you delegate it. It is a successful delegation because it's not going to be 100%, but the value you get back from the time that you free up for yourself when you delegate the thing is immensely valuable and outweighs the 20% loss, if you want to call it a loss, that you take by delegating the thing to somebody else. So that's how I think about that part.
It's interesting because it's not like a 20% loss in like the amount of attention paid to something and like diligence. It's that creative bridge that only you can really have. That's hard to even put it. You know, like they'll pay the same amount of attention, but you're like, but I really care about this one thing, and like it's just hard to get that across. And I have a hard time delegating myself. For that reason. But dude, I think you've been like great at it, and man, it's been great to like work with you for the last, like, I don't know, five years or something. And it's really dope how, like you said, like you've allowed like everyone on the team to like, we jumped on board like at different times and whatnot, and have like grown and like done stuff kind of out of our scopes, like one at a time. Like, okay, now we're going to take it out of the comedy club. Let's hit like Europe, and like, you're going to film it here. And I'm like, all right, man, like, yeah, we got this. Like, and it has been just such a growing, it's been really dope, man. It's been great.
No, it's been an amazing ride, man. And I feel like we're just getting started, and, no, it's incredible, man. And I appreciate that. Yeah, it can be hard to delegate. And you're right. It's not 20% less attention. It's just 20% less ability to be inside your actual brain. Because many of the things that I might sense, I don't even know how to put words to it. You know, like it would require me to just like work for months writing, it feels like, writing down like, well, why, what is it? A lot of it is spidey sense type stuff, which is probably like 1,000 micro firings in your brain through time of subjective aesthetic preferences, which are probably based on like things that I experienced at different points throughout my course of life, like seeing the Scratch documentary when I was 12, you know, and like that is like a big piece of my aesthetic lens, you know, and hearing Black Alicia's Blazing Arrow so early is a huge piece of my aesthetic lens. And also hearing Gemini 95.5, mainstream rap of the early 2000s, like is in there somewhere, even though I don't consciously know that it's in there. And so those are the little things where it's just like, I wouldn't do it that way. And it's like, well, why not? That's a valid way. And you're like, it is a valid way. It's just not my valid way, you know? So
I need you to know to blend all of those things you just said into this like typography.
Exactly. Is it impossible?
You got it across.
Exactly.
It's not going to like carry forward, you know, like it's a difficult thing. So but yeah.
And different people have different relationships with it too. Like some people do retain a very hands-on level of control with a lot of aspects of their business. And usually that just means they go a little slower. You know, to just grossly generalize, it's hard to achieve speed if you have to be hands-on with every part of it because you're only one person. And so for me, it's been immensely valuable to be able to move faster and to get more content out, to just let go of that 20%. And then incrementally over time, it's like, oh, now it's only 19% that's let go of. Now it's only 18, 17%. You know what I'm saying? Because over time, through little things here and there, be like, yo, could you tweak this a little bit this way? And then it's like, oh, okay, everybody's lens starts to kind of align. And I would also say, you know, I benefit from having different perspectives on the team too. That's the other side of this coin, right? It's not only about me trying to get everybody to see the world the way I see it. That wouldn't be productive. You know, the idea is like, I see the world the way I see it. Yes, I'm the artist, and that's going to be, you know, the main engine of like the creative vision, but also I should be challenged, you know, like I should be looking at something and being like, I wouldn't have done it that way. that's interesting. Maybe I don't see it right now, but let me chew on that, you know? And then my perspective expands as well. And so that's the value of bringing great people along too, is like, you know, it's like that thing, Steve Jobs, it's like you're all rough-edged rocks in a rock tumbler, a roller, and then it rolls around and everybody's clashing and bumping into each other, and then they all get so smoothed out and beautiful, you know?
Nice.
So,
yeah. Everyone has like a different like knowledge base too. So it's like they almost teach you like, oh, you wanted to do it this way, but like I just want to present you the value of this way. Yeah. And then like sometimes you're like, okay, yeah, like that's definitely, I'll sacrifice this because that makes way more sense. And like, yeah, man.
We out here learning together. Shout out to my boy Sir Jazz. Legend in the flesh. Come see us in Europe, man. You know what it is. This summer, July, we out there. 3 headliners, 3 festivals. We about to go crazy. And go support my man. YouTube.com/@SirJazz. SURJAZZ_. Go support this cat, man. Run it up. He's doing great work. He's an amazing person.
Mad talented.